Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So today we're looking into something pretty significant brewing in the crypto world.
Yeah, it involves Changpeng Zhao, CZ, the founder of Binance.
Exactly. He's apparently applied for a presidential pardon from Donald Trump. This relates to his money laundering conviction.
And we're basing this on a news article that's detailed the whole thing.
Right. Our mission really is to unpack this, understand, the conviction itself, why he's asking for a pardon now, and, well, what might happen next.
And the hook, I think, is that he actually denied he was seeking one earlier. That adds a layer, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, let's get into it.
So the timeline is pretty important to grasp why this is such a turnaround.
Definitely.
Back in March, you had Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal reporting he was sort of looking into a pardon.
Yeah, I remember those reports. They even linked it to potential talks between the Trump family and Binance.us.
Exactly. Binance.us, the U.S. arm. But back then, CZ was, well, quite clear saying no. He denied it.
Pretty strongly, as I recall. But then, just this week, he goes on the Fair Radio podcast.
And flips the script entirely.
Totally. Admits he wouldn't mind a pardon, and crucially, that his lawyers have already filed the application.
And the timing he gave is interesting, too. Said it was submitted about 2 weeks before that interview.
So roughly late April this year, it's
Yeah.
almost like paradoxical. The very media speculation he denied seems to have pushed him to actually do it.
It is strange. What does that tell you about the pressure in these kinds of situations?
Well, it's fascinating. And he actually gave a reason, didn't he?
He did. He said on the podcast that those original articles, the Bloomberg and WSJ ones,
Yep.
they made him think, and I'm quoting roughly here, if they're writing this article, I may as well just officially apply.
Wow. So the speculation itself became the trigger.
Seems like it. Even if it wasn't perhaps entirely accurate when it first came out.
Huh. So it planted the idea. But it wasn't just the media buzz, right? He mentioned something else.
Correct. He specifically brought up Donald Trump's previous pardon of the 3 BitMEX founders,
Ah, yes.
including Arthur Hayes.
Exactly. He pointed to that as a motivating factor.
So it's not just about his own situation. He's seeing perhaps a pattern or at least a possibility based on past actions in the crypto space.
Precisely. It suggests he believes there's a potential path for executive clemency, for crypto-related cases.
Which raises bigger questions about how these cases are viewed maybe differently.
It could. But to really understand the pardon request's weight, we need to look at the conviction itself.
Right, let's dial back, November 2023.
Yep. CZ pleaded guilty, money laundering charge.
And this was tied into that massive settlement Binance reached with the U.S. authorities. What was it, $4.3 billion?
A staggering $4.3 billion, yeah. And CZ himself had to pay $50 million personally.
$50 million.
Yeah.
And he had to step down as Binance CEO.
Correct. He served time, too, sentenced to 4 months in prison. Quite the downfall, as you said.
Yeah. And there was another key part of that plea deal, wasn't there?
Yeah.
About his future role. Yes, very important. He's specifically prohibited from holding a management or operational role at Binance.
Okay, so that's where the pardon potentially comes in again.
Exactly. Because according to the Department of Justice, a pardon doesn't actually erase the conviction itself. It stays on his record.
Right. Not wiped clean.
But it could potentially lift that specific restriction, the one barring him from a management or operational role.
Specifically at Binance.us, you mean?
That seems to be the focus, yes, Binance.us.
Okay, that's a crucial difference. The conviction remains, but maybe he could get back involved operationally, at least in the U.S. entity.
Potentially.
But then again, he did say back in November at that Binance Blockchain Week event,
Ah, yes, I remember.
he stated he had no plans to return to the CEO position. Said he thought the current team was doing well.
Which adds another wrinkle, doesn't it?
It does.
If he doesn't want the CEO job back, why push for a pardon that could allow an operational role? What kind of role?
Maybe it's not about being CEO specifically. Maybe it's about just removing that legal barrier for any future involvement or influence.
That's plausible. Or perhaps it's about clearing the decks for other ventures in crypto, even outside Binance. That conviction, even pardoned, might cast a shadow.
That makes sense. It's less about the title, more about the restriction itself. And he certainly hasn't disappeared from the scene.
Not at all. Since getting out of prison, he's already started advisory roles.
Where was it? Pakistan and Kyrgyzstan.
That's right. Helping with crypto regulation, blockchain implementation. He's staying active in the space.
Clearly still involved. Now, there was one other point in the article, something CZ himself claimed.
Ah, yes. Quite a statement. He asserted he's the only person in U.S. history to actually serve prison time for a Bank Secrecy Act charge.
The Bank Secrecy Act. That's the main legislation against money laundering, right?
Broadly, yes. It covers reporting and record-keeping requirements to prevent financial crimes.
That's a bold claim, being the only one imprisoned for it.
It is. Whether it's factually 100% accurate historically might need verification, but it definitely shows how he views his situation.
Like his case is unique or maybe unfairly harsh. It feels like part of building a narrative for the pardon.
It could certainly be framed that way, an argument that his punishment was exceptional, perhaps disproportionate, even if the legal finding itself wouldn't change with a pardon. It's about perceived fairness.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together. CZ confirmed he applied for a pardon from Trump.
Yep, after denying it initially.
And this seems driven by a mix of media reports sort of forcing his hand and seeing the BitMEX pardons as a precedent.
Right. And while the pardon wouldn't erase the money laundering conviction,
It might open the door for him to take an operational role at Binance.US again.
potentially, even though he's publicly downplayed wanting the CEO job back.
So the whole thing really highlights this complex intersection. You've got crypto, financial crime, regulation, and high-level politics all tangled up.
Absolutely. The founder of a massive global exchange seeking a presidential pardon. It just raises so many questions about accountability, about justice in this new digital finance world. What message does it send?
And that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. Think about these pardons, especially in financial crime cases and now in crypto. What does this whole situation tell us about how power, the justice system, and, innovation collide in the digital age?
It's definitely food for thought.
Indeed.